Hello everybody, and welcome back to my Thracia 776 low Turncounts Ironman playthrough. I am Lolo Santonia, and I am joined today by Ada again.
Hello, it's me, the lovable sidekick.
And we're also joined by Valk today.
Hey!
Valk is known as Palla Emblem on YouTube. Would you like to talk a bit about some of the playthroughs that you've done in the past?
Well, I started with Fire Emblem 3 Book 2, which was sort of my intro to low turn running, which is why I've done it like 3 times or whatever. Then I moved
0%,
into...
wasn't it?
Yeah, 0% gross. Then I think I did... I tried to do Fire Emblem 4, and then it was like... got really complicated, so I did Gaiden instead, which was a much better game.
Bless. I love Gaiden.
Yeah, and then I went back and actually finished Fire Emblem 4, and that was a ranked playthrough. And I remember I only did that because someone on Reddit told me I couldn't. So.
And you're commentating that run now, correct?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I would highly suggest going and checking that out.
So, welcome to Chapter 4. We are in prison because Leaf and Lithis were captured last chapter. And also, their inventories have been randomly scattered in chests around the map.
So I think that was a bad connection there.
Fun fact about this
I might not have the best.
Oh, did it not go through?
Sorry, I might not have the best connection. But yeah, basically the items in Leaf and Lithis' inventories are at the start of this map randomly placed in these chests in different rooms. Sorry, I interrupted you, Val.
I was gonna say, yeah, fun fact about this chest, there's like 64 possibilities of where they could all end up, and we used to have that documented, and we don't anymore.
Really?
How do you not have it documented anymore?
It was on a Japanese website, and nobody knows what happened to it. So, yeah.
I forget if Maka has 4 or 5 base strength. Okay, it's 4. I'll have to give her the steel sword so that she can kill this enemy on the counterattack. And yeah, Brighton will be fine. We got a favorable roll with this enemy here, where both Brighton and Maka will be able to kill him on a counterattack. If he stays alive, then it can cause problems later, but generally it should be fine. What's more unfortunate is that we have exactly 2 chests here. We generally want to have either 1 chest or like a lot of chests in there, because Maka will be staying back and she will be unlocking them with her chest key. But if it's 2 chests, for example, it could cause us problems. We might have to orchestrate an intricate trading chain to get the chest key back to the rest of the group so that we can unlock the other chests.
Alright. Do you care about getting every chest on this map?
Most of them. So in the chests are the items from Leaf and Lithis' inventories at the end of the last chapter. In our case, that is the Lightbrand Speed Ring and Brave Axe. Additionally, there are a Javelin, a Rapier, a Vulnerary, and I think a Steel Sword as well. Some of those items are not very important. So for example, if there are 2 chests at the end, and we've gotten everything that we need, and we know that those 2 chests could be like the Javelin or Vulnerary, we're perfectly fine going ahead and just escaping earlier. So we don't necessarily need everything, it just requires adaptation.
I always hate using Brighton in this chapter because his hit rates are like mid-70s. He just missed this every time.
I had one of my friends did a run, an Ironman, where Maka ended up dying, I think in this chapter. And we had that like gameplay-based story where like we sort of headcanoned Brighton as just being really, really angry that his wife died, and so he has the rest. I would like to have Leaf's cell unlocked on turn 3, What con do you have? He has 6 con. That's unfortunate. Does the light brand right away, which is quite nice.
Oh yeah.
Typically, I would be resorting to a capture bait strategy, where I have Lithus put in a position where he will be automatically captured by the soldier, and then on the following turn I can kill him with Brighton, dropping him a tile forward so that he can unlock this this cell door to leave the following turn. Here, however, this soldier rolled the minimum constitution, meaning that he cannot capture Lithus. I can, however, place Lithus here, and then regardless of the soldier's movement, he will still be able to reach the cell door. I'll trust that it's safe to do this. Okay, no reinforcements. Yeah, so as you can see, that guy has random movement, so he could, if I placed Lithus exactly 7 tiles away, just with straight movement, he could have attacked Lithus from the front, blocking his movement.
Mm-hmm.
We got the whole squad here.
These are my favorite units in the game. You never know what they're gonna do. Oh, nice.
Oh,
that was a good room.
Yeah, you
Nice.
always know what they're gonna do. They're always gonna capture when they shouldn't.
I'll try to capture to ensure that they miss, and then they'll capture somebody, then get themselves killed so they can drop the guy on the ground, so he's a problem again.
Is there any chance of leaving people behind?
It's incredibly unlikely. It shouldn't have to be a concern in this chapter.
Oh, right. Did we explain that? Escape
No,
chapters. in
yeah,
Thracia.
this is-
Oh yeah! I always love this chapter from a design standpoint, because there's not really anything like it in any other Fire Emblem game.
It's really unique.
They start off the game by giving you fun, broken units like Orson, Dagdar, and, you know, all those fun boys. And then it's like, and they're gone now.
Yeah,
here's
it's interesting because in
Good
those other
addition.
chapters, combat is somewhat of a formality. It's sort of a given that your super strong units, like, you know, Dagdar with a Brave Axe or Finn with his Brave Lance, you can pretty much always just one-round enemies. But then when they take them away from you, yeah, combat is a huge concern in these chapters.
Yeah, you got these jank units that they're not bad, but they're not the same.
consistent. Anywhere near as consistent as the units you had were.
Mhm. Though in a way, I feel it makes these units more lovable because you have to put up with them.
Oh, I adore Marco. Oh, I should have. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done any planning on this chapter. I really should have traded the lockpick so that I could have Lara unlock this door. That's fine. It just means that Fergus and Karen are going to be falling behind a bit. But yeah, they do seem to highly prefer captures often.
Yeah, I think if they can capture, they go for it. I know I've seen them kill somebody before, but it's very rare.
Definitely.
I love how they give Brighton a steel axe to showcase
Yeah.
that you can't use it.
Man, wouldn't it be cool? Anyway.
I do find it interesting how at the start of this map there's like not many units.
Yeah.
They have the 2 very chonky armor knights at the top, and then a bunch of soldiers that don't matter too much. And it's really more about... I guess it's to get you like a feel for trading and moving rather
Yeah.
than combat.
I'm doing some intricate rescue dropping and stuff and trading. The reason I want to do this is because there are civilians in cells at the top of the map, and much like how they were an important side objective in Chapter 3, here we really want to do our best to prioritize saving these civilians. They are needed to unlock Chapter 4X, the guidance chapter to this one, And again, in a double S rank playthrough, there is no obligation to play any given guidance chapter, because you do not need to recruit every character. However, much like 2X, the character which we can get from the guidance chapter is just essential to this route, so we will still be going there and spending those turns anyway.
Yeah, skipping that chapter is not great.
Is an option. Theoretically.
I mean, I've seen people do it, and they don't have fun later.
Yeah, you wouldn't. Oh, we've gone through throwing bonuses. Okay, that's the steel sword. So far it's... Okay, that's the javelin. So ideally, we'll be able to skip one of these rooms entirely.
You're looking for the rapier now, right?
The rapier and the speed ring are what we need.
Oh yeah, you brought the speed ring.
Should I... unlock? It could be a call. I think I would prefer to set up the trade chain and unlock the other chests later.
It says ideally the left door on turn 5 and the right door on turn 6.
Yeah.
Or is that's for the lower doors, or is it? I don't know.
No, that is the upper doors here.
That is the upper
because
doors. Okay.
the chapter is bottlenecked by when the civilians can escape, because there will be reinforcements coming from these stairways, which is the point at which they escape. What that means is that unless we can unlock them incredibly fast, then we will be forced to block the reinforcements by having a unit stand on the tile from which they would usually spawn. So for example, we're having Brighton head towards the upper stair tile here. That means that when the civilians are escaping, soldiers will not spawn, and so they won't be able to capture the civilians. But as a consequence, our turn count will be flawed by how long it takes our units to walk from the stairs to the escape point after the civilians finish escaping. There is a strategy where Marker can allow the right civilians to escape an entire turn early. What this means is that they can potentially escape before reinforcements can possibly start appearing, because they're a bit later on the right. This means that Marker has no obligation to block the reinforcements, and so she can start heading towards this room early, which is very good, because the more units we have here, the better. There's gonna be
Oh yeah.
something of a nasty surprise. So we can have Marker do a little rescue drop thing, and she won't have to block any reinforcements. This is very fortunate.
Good.
So far the luck on this chapter has been pretty good, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, and the speed ring's gonna be in the last chest you check.
Oh, absolutely.
One fun fact about the civilians that I learned when doing the Taz run was that you could actually carry them out yourself through the escape point,
Yes.
and that count.
I've seen a very interesting strategy which actually makes use of this. This is by someone who goes by Pillow Bunny on YouTube. They've done several Thracia runs. One of them was a triple S playthrough. I believe it was a 13-turn strategy for this chapter, and rather than the typical Don strategy for the final room, where you create a line, meaning that none of the enemies can block you, what they did was they did a longer strategy in which you simply kill most of the enemies in the room, and then you escape afterwards. This is far safer, although you would usually spend 1 or 2 turns doing it. And what they did to help with it was they used one of these civilians as a capture bait target, and then this was fine because they could just escape with them later. The strategy which we will be using for the final room, the much alluded to final room, will be something very similar to that, although it's actually something that I came up with myself before finding that run.
Oh, alright.
Oh, please don't die. I love the little brigands.
I
Oh,
don't remember what turn
God
it is.
bless.
Oh, he's dead.
We just have to hope that they don't block the movement of the civilians.
Oh yeah, that
They
could be a
shouldn't be
problem.
able to, because I think... Yeah, there's no way they will. So I'm getting paranoid again. I did start the recording, right? Awesome. I had a moment like that earlier, because you sort of start it and then you don't think about it anymore.
Oh yeah.
We'll give the slim sword to Fergus. And actually we'll take the steel sword as well.
Fergus is pretty fun in this chapter.
Pardon?
Fergus can be pretty fun in this chapter if he
Yeah.
ever gets his weapon.
He's a real nice unit here. I kind of messed up the trade chain a bit, but oh well. That shouldn't cause too many problems. I could have unlocked that chest a ton earlier by having Leaf one tile up and left. Here we're seeing Marker being put into action. Since we freed these civilians on turn 6, we were actually able to rescue drop one of them a tile forward, or 2 tiles forward from where they would normally be. This is important because the only reason the civilians would normally escape on the turn that they do is because exactly one of them is exactly 1 tile short of escaping. Yeah, the speed ring's in the last chest, as you said. So yeah, by rescue dropping one of the civilians a little bit ahead, they can escape 1 whole turn earlier, which means that Marker will not have to block any of the reinforcements. And so she can help us with the ending of the chapter, which is nice and very appreciated.
Brighton's gonna be turn flooring you.
Yeah, it looks like we'll be floored at 15 turns. Ah, it's okay, I believe in you. You'll get them next time. Typically, the brigands won't have captured as many soldiers as they did just there at the beginning of the chapter, and so I'd actually be getting a lot of support from them right now with fighting these armour knights, and they wouldn't be as much of a concern. Unfortunately, however, both of them are still alive and on decently high health, although this one's taken a few hits. That armour knight should have a vulnerary, I believe, which is why I didn't attack them. I'm surprised that they didn't already heal. That, I presume, would be because the heal AI threshold for them is 30%, given that they were at 8 of 20 health. Oh, this one doesn't have a vulnerary. Okay, yeah, one of them has a door key and the other has a vulnerary. A little bit wacky, but okay.
Yeah, they like to give you enough door keys to clear the map, assuming everybody died or something. Even if they're entirely impractical to get.
Yeah. I prefer this. Okay, and now we can really start our preparation for this final room coming up. We'll just have Fergus come here. We've not spoken too much about the units we've got in here. Fergus is nice and useful. He has a pursuit critical coefficient of 5, meaning he's hella gonna crit this guy right here. His threshold for reaching 100 hit on the follow-up is 20, and he can quite easily reach that because he gains a plus 10 support from Karen, who's next to him right here, and some weapons such as the rapier here also provide a bit of innate crit. So getting 20 crit on him is typically no problem at all. I'll have Brighton start making his way back. Some reinforcements may start appearing, but so long as he doesn't get hit by an unfortunate crit, which unfortunately we have no real way of mitigating, he should be fine.
Oh yeah, has Brighton got low luck?
It's not exceptional. Yeah, it's 2 luck, so he has 1 crit avoid.
Oh.
If any unit rolls greater than 2 skill, then they'll have a crit rate on him, which is unfortunate.
Yet another reason to hate Brighton.
Oh, I love Brighton though.
I used to love him, and then he missed, and then he missed again, and then
He's
I didn't
funny
love Brighton
though.
anymore. Oh, he's very much a hit or miss unit. Parents leading the charge. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure she's gonna see a lot of combat. Miss unarmed Karen. She'll be fine. Ooh, okay, time for the preparation. First of all, we will open this door and see what we're dealing with. Okay. Yeah, what up? I'm back for a bit more post-commentary. I felt like back in Chapter 3, the flow of this episode would be helped a bit if I recorded this separately. The episode's already really long as it is. So yeah, I will be going through this final room of Chapter 4 and what it entails. This room is pretty infamous for being incredibly difficult and arguably unfair, which honestly is a pretty decent assessment. Even knowing what awaits you, many players face casualties here, and we need a strategy which is as reliable as possible. Some notable strategies include Don Don's line strategy. In his low turn count playthrough, Don Don, on the turn that he unlocks this giant door, he creates a line of units towards the escape point. And what that means is that none of the enemies can block his path to the escape point, so he can 100% guarantee everybody can escape on the following turn. The only risk, however, being that many of his units face a pretty considerable chance of death. Of course, this isn't really viable for us. We can't just risk multiple units like that, so we have to think of something else. Some slower strategies include choking the point at the doorway and slowly chipping your way through. This is a bit safer, but it's also really slow. So we'd rather go for something quicker. A really slow but very safe strategy has you unlocking the door and turning around. Because most of the enemies in there are armor knights, you can simply outrun them and make a full loop around the map. And then when you get back to where you started, none of the enemies are in that room anymore, so you can just go straight to the escape point. The only worry there is the soldier reinforcements. They're pretty easy to dispatch of. Instead, the strategy we use is pretty aggressive. We unlock the door, and we storm multiple units in. Multiple of them being disarmed. What this means is that most of the enemies will try and capture our units, which takes up their enemy phase action, and then on the player phase, since they have somebody captured, the stats are decreased by half, making it way easier to kill them, which is a godsend because some of these armor knights are real tough to deal with. We position our units before we open the door pretty specifically, such that Leaf can immediately run in and recruit Dawson. He's that armor knight that you've seen putting in some real work in these past few turns. Good combat is pretty hard to come by in Manster, but by bringing the Brave Axe with us to Manster, as we did, we can turn Dawson into a unit who can quite consistently one-round KO enemies with around 80% hit, which is really appreciated. With the help of Fergus, his effective rapier and 100 crit, with Leaf's magic light brand, Lithus's ability to disarm any of those mages in that room in a single action by stealing their tome, and using multiple units as capture bait targets, we have a pretty reliable answer to one of the game's greatest challenges. Something funny about this is I planned this mostly alone, and not long after I concluded my planning on Chapter 4, I actually I was directed to the Triple S playthrough done by Anonymous776, and I found that they use pretty much the same strategy here, which, you know, it kind of feels bad that I could have just found that way sooner and have found a reliable strategy. But also, I mean, it is validating to see someone else came with the same strategy. What's worth noting is that they actually bring one of the civilians with them into the room. The requirement for Chapter 4X is that all of the civilians escape. And naturally, they'll try and do that at those stairs at the bottom. But if you bring one with you, you can still have them escape quickly by escaping with a unit who has them rescued it still considers the civilian to have escaped. And that means that you can bring a civilian with you and you have an extra capture bait target. I didn't investigate this too thoroughly, but it is possible that this chapter could be more reliable if you did a strategy like that. Another important thing to know here is the enemy movement order. Thracia's enemies move in a predetermined order, which you can take massive advantage of. The enemies here move in an alternating pattern, like so. And knowing this pattern is incredibly useful, because sometimes you will want to, for example, bait a specific unit into targeting a specific one of your units. And so you don't want them to be able to capture in a different order and then end up being forced to attack at 2 range and potentially like kill Lara, for example. So knowing the movement order and abusing that is very useful. As we mentioned before, this chapter was on pace for a pretty smooth 15 turns, but due to honestly a pretty bad misplay, where I I kind of banked on Dawson hitting twice, which isn't very reliable. We ended up with 16 turns instead. But I do think it speaks volumes to this strategy, that even with some pretty sloppy play, the only punishment I really got was a turn loss, and not any casualties. Some further context on what was happening live. A few times in this chapter, I ended up mixing up the names of Brighton and Dawson. I don't really know how. But I thought I'd mention this because it does come up again in the next chapter. Anyway, here is chapter 4X, back to live commentary. See ya. So when Dawson uses the torch, we see that there are a whole bunch of enemies here. Yeah, another nasty surprise courtesy of Indoor Manster. Valk, do you want to talk a bit about how what our approach to this group of enemies will be?
Yeah, so like, at least from my understanding, one of the best things to do on this map is you want to get all the enemies to kill themselves, more or less. You don't want to have them wasting their time attacking at 2 range when you can't kill them. So what I'm going to assume you're going to do is you're going to set them up so that you sort of force them to only be able to attack at 1 range. And then you'll probably have, like, I guess Fergus or somebody, maybe Makua, that just cleans them all up for them.
Yeah. So on turn 1, we can position some units such that they can capture bait these armor knights. And then after that, these mages will be forced to attack Dawson at 1 range, dying to his brave axe.
Oh, it's Dawson.
Yeah. Were you worried I would say Brighton?
No, I forget about Dawson because of the reason. Yeah, this is one of the scariest first turns, I think, in the game.
Yeah. Kind of no matter what you do, if you want to do any kind of safe strategy, you're going to be facing a small chance of death, which, again, we try to do everything that we can to mitigate chances of death, but there really is only so much you can do in some of these chapters.
And if most of these units die, it's not the end of the world. There's only a few ones you have to take care of,
yeah,
right?
There are only a few units who would really cause, who would really be reset conditions for the run.
Yeah, I assume Leaf is one of them, and Laura, and
Yeah.
Karen.
Lara, Leaf, the green unit up there, to the left of the guy who's just killing everyone. We'll talk a bit about him later. If he ends up dying at some point, then that will absolutely just be the run reset. But yeah, aside from them, Karen would be very important for a while. But yeah, most units wouldn't be reset conditions. Thank you, Bryce. I believe that was a
skill twice.
Oh!
Yeah.
Right, this guy still moves before one of those soldiers. Did they roll extra movement, that soldier?
Maybe.
Because that would have put them back in the movement order. I would have thought they would attack after a 7 move mage. Sorry, before.
Random movement on enemies may have not been the best decision, but it certainly is an interesting one.
No, that's still base movement. That's interesting. Here we have funny little Asbel. He's a very interesting unit. It will become very transparent later that he is the run. Asbel really does define this playthrough, like he does many, along with just a few other units. Right on the surface, he is a mage, meaning that he does magic damage, of which the only unit we've seen who does magic damage until now has been Avel with the Flame Sword. He also has a personal tome, Graph Caliber, which really is incredible. It has 100 hit, it has 13 might, and 40 crit, and it doesn't weigh him down too much. This is great paired with his 3 pursuit critical coefficient, so much like Orson and Fergus, he can easily get in situations where he is guaranteed crit on his follow-up. He's accompanied by Sed. He has a couple of stats. Would you believe me if I said that he is not recruited right now?
What? You can't get him right now?
I mean, I have been...
He's like an honorary unit.
I have been playing a bit of Talius lately. I've recently played through the last Fire Emblem games that I hadn't finished. I finished Radiant Dawn in the past couple weeks. And after seeing some of the units in that game, you know what? Maybe Sed wouldn't be so insane.
Yeah, Radiant Dawn units are a bit silly at times.
Which I very much appreciate. I love that they had the bravery to give you units who do everything.
The bravery to make both Har and Edward. Yeah, Asphalt is so good. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
Like, this run, when I was looking into speedrunning this game for a while, like, it costs like 8 minutes or something to do this chapter, and it is entirely worth doing.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about most Fire Emblem speedruns, but I can imagine he's really good.
Normally, like, you use like all the Hamburn uses on like warp stabs and a rescue stab, but for like a more casual playthrough, getting another full set of Graph Caliber uses is totally justified in my opinion.
Yeah, it's something that's often recommended to players, and I would in many cases agree with it. Although in a very intricately planned playthrough like this one, it's unlikely that you're really going to have to use more than 40 uses of Graph Caliber. It is a pretty good call.
Yeah, early on is when you kind of use most of it, and then you use about 2 uses of it after that per map for the boss.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking for this turn? You're gonna take out the 2 armor knights and...
Run in the unfortunate situation where Dalsin cannot safely attack one of these guys because he would actually face a chance of death from both of these mages. So I'm not quite sure what my best course of action is here. I think I might have it.
Alright.
Because she can do 8 times to her. Leaf can finish off. She might face a small chance of death. But that might just be how it goes. She should be fine, because I can capture bait the armor knights. I believe in Marco. Believe in Marco? Okay. And we believe in Leaf. Thank you.
Leaf has never let us down. Speed's really good on him.
Really need you to not get hit here. Come on. Okay, good. That could have been kind of scary if he got hit. It could still be kind of scary, but it's not quite so bad now. What do you got? Alright, I'll take that.
God unit. Yeah, I remember the Marathon Safe speedrun. Their strategy for this map was, on the last map, they trained up Fergus to sword rank to B, so that he could use the fire sword, and then they just sacked him. And then they just put him in the middle of everything, and he kills as many enemies as he can and then dies.
That's funny.
It's a real arc of a unit.
Oh. Did one of them roll extra movement, actually? Oh, that could be bad. That should still be fine. I'll make sure that Karen is not in range of the soldier, though.
Rolling up on movement resets their move order.
Yeah, it sets them back to the end of the group.
That's
Okay.
interesting. I didn't know that one.
Yeah, one of the many weird quirks of this game. Maka might die here. Okay. Ah, that's
Bitch.
unfortunate.
Oh, rest in pizza.
I may end up losing a ton in this chapter because of that, but I think it should be fine.
She
What's
gave her life
unfortunate-
for the cause.
What's unfortunate is that I rescued Lithis last turn, assuming that he could be dropped by Maka, which he cannot. So I will be unlocking these doors a turn later than I'd want to.
Right. And you need all the civilians out, right?
Yeah, those civilians will allow you to get some useful chapters, some useful items in a later chapter. Some of them are very important for making some later strategies possible. I believe each civilian is associated with one of the villages in that chapter. So one for each item.
Yeah, I remember when I was planning out the SSS run, I realized that I didn't have time to visit any of the houses. So all I needed to do was get the child out that was for the recruitable character. And then I just abandoned the rest of the children. Our great hero Leaf has done it again.
Yeah, it's looking like, due to that mistake and Maka's death, the time count here might be kind of bad. But really, the most important thing is just that everyone survives.
Alright.
I still do want to get up here in at a somewhat good pace, because Asbel, I think he should be fine now, but he does sometimes face a small chance of death. I actually saw that in a practice run, which I hadn't seen it before. The notable thing that can cause this is if he manages to get a movement star, then he can overextend a bit. Okay, good. Then he can overextend a bit and face way more enemies than he can safely.
Oh yeah, green units with move stars is never a good combination.
You never want to see that.
So there's chests at the top of the map. Do you plan on getting those?
Yeah, we'll get to those when we arrive at them. We will be picking up 2 of them.
Alright. One of the things that's always very sad about watching the green units up top
All the
is
graph caliber
watching
uses.
it. Yeah, like, Asphalt, just stay back. Let Sed do everything. It's fine.
Sed's fine.
He doesn't get any experience from it either because he's green.
Yeah. Oh, this is looking even more scuffed now that I don't have Marker. Unless Leaf is able to kill one of these enemy soldiers. Oh, he might be able to.
He's gotten some good speed
Yes.
level, I saw.
He has 7 speed right now, that's pretty nice. We'll see if he can get 75 hit twice. Please? Ugh. Oh, that was adept.
Yeah.
Alright, good. This means that we can begin unlocking these cells immediately. This is turn 4. Normally I would have started unlocking them on turn 3. it feels like I've been here forever, but really I think so far we've just lost about 1 turn.
I mean, there's no real shame in taking a bit longer on this part. It's like,
Yeah,
these enemies are very scary.
it happens. It's indoor Manster. There's only so much you can do.
It's always really satisfying seeing the 3-tile gap between Karen and Fergus constantly set up.
Yeah. Now with Lithus 3 freed, he can begin unlocking these civilians here. I've also set up a trade chain such that on the following turn, on turn 5 now, we'll be able to have Lithus unlock the other cell, and also trade the lockpick over to Lara, who can unlock that big door there. Something unfortunate about Marka's death, and I suppose this is a bit rude, is that she had a Thunder Tome on her, which we would have quite liked. Again, maybe a bit rude to be worrying about that of all things, but yeah, we really would like as many tomes as we can get around this point, so that's quite sad.
Yeah, Thracia doesn't send anything to Convoy of Death like the more modern games do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and they have vision on that top room.
Yeah. Here's Asbel recruiting himself on Leaf. Very fortunate.
It's always nice when an NPC does that.
Yeah.
Are you rescuing Sed with a plan in mind?
Yes, I am stealing him right up. Here you can see there is a room full of quite a few enemies. Not nearly as bad as the room in Chapter 4, and not nearly as punishing considering you can see the enemies. But still, we would appreciate some way of just sort of invalidating the challenge of this room, and oh boy do we have one right here. I forgot to talk to him with Karen. Okay, that's kind of unfortunate. If Karen talks to Sed, then she can gain the another Crusader scroll, one which boosts speed, which is very nice to have. But yeah, now that I've already rescued up Sed, I can't speak to him right now.
Yeah, it's like a 30% boost. It's really cool.
Here we're finally seeing those rings being put to use. We're using the speed ring on Asbel. He has incredible speed, and you may think that it's a bit wasted because speed cap's at 20, and he's going to reach that really easily. But the thing about Asbel is, and mages in general in this game, is that even though he has 4 constitution and his tome only weighs 3, it still weighs him down by 3 attack speed to 7. Without that speed ring, he would be starting at 4 attack speed while using the Graph Caliber, which he really can't use too much right now. As such, we give him the speed ring just to make some of his early combat a bit more lenient.
Yeah, that was one of the problems I had when I was doing the SSS run.
Oh, that's really good. Sorry, I'll just say quickly. Not only has Fergus leveled Constitution at some point, allowing him to also rescue Sed, so that I can drop him on this turn and get the Sed scroll. He also procced a movement star, so I can rescue him right back up.
I love movement stars. It's a mechanic I never want to see come back.
You never want to see him come back?
Yeah, I never want to see those Draco Knights with movement stars ever again.
Oh, not on enemies. Those aren't fun.
Yeah, it was one of the problems I had when I was doing the SSS run was I didn't have the ability to give the speed ring to Asbel. So I had to sort of train him in combat. Not because he was going to be used in the run, because I left him behind. But
yeah, I remember. I was surprised by that.
he did need to have 10 Constitution, because I needed him to be able to rescue, I think it was Alva, or it might have been Finn, in 21X. And training Asbel is really annoying because his speed just doesn't double enemies at base.
Yeah.
Without grab. It was It was very disappointing watching him fail to kill armor knights without critical hits.
Yeah, Asbel of all people. Here we unlock the door with Lara, but the thing about that is that Lara was standing on the tile where we want Sed to be dropped, and so we do a little rescue drop where we can free up this tile so that we can drop Sed in here.
One of the difficulties, if I remember correctly, of trying to do this strat is the enemies have 2 range in that room.
Yes. Additionally, you may have seen this bishop here has a physics staff. Without going into the details, physics staves can be incredibly useful in a low turn playthrough. And so ideally, it is not necessary, but it is very good if we are in some way able to capture this guy here. The trouble with that is that if we don't give him 2 ranged targets, and he also moves after the other 2 armor knights who attack at 2 range, if we don't give all 3 of them targets that they could attack at 2 range, then they will just start killing themselves on Sed.
Okay.
And so we provide some different targets so that we can keep that guy alive for the next turn, giving us a chance to capture him.
I remember that guy's got a pretty meaty Hellfire tome as well. He's kind of scary.
He's got 17 attack right here, which does a whole lot of damage to any of our units, almost killing them from the health they're at right now. Something unfortunate about this room is that the 2 range enemies seem to act in a pretty nonsensical order sometimes. You could give them a real frail target and they'll go and say, ooh, look at that big meaty Dalson, and go attack him. Oh, sorry, it's 4 2 range enemies. But yeah, I put Lithis there in the hope that that Lithis might bait anyone who goes into that tile, so that neither Dalson nor Fergus would be forced to face 2 enemies.
It's a female mage.
Yeah, uncommon. I believe specifically a Thunder Mage.
Yeah. She's
God
the
bless
only one in the
Paragon
game.
mode, giving us a full level there, almost.
Oh yeah.
This can be bad if Sed manages to proc a movement star, because then he can kill another unit, of whom he might target the bishop. Fortunately, he didn't proc a movement star though. Hopefully, we can go ahead and capture him. Even outside of Karen's supporting range here, Fergus easily finding that 20 crit benchmark, so we can safely attack this guy.
Perfect hit. Perfect crit. That's Fergus. Nice magic.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. I'll take
Flame
that.
Sword Fergus is real.
I think this might be what I want to do. By attacking here with Leaf, it means that Dalson will only have to hit one of his 2 hits, which is gonna improve his reliability a whole lot, and we can quite confidently capture this bishop here. Unfortunately, however, if Leaf gets hit, then he will have a chance of death against the Armor Knight. Thankfully, he dodges. If he was hit, we would have to rescue him.
And I can double.
More speed on Leaf. So we need to hit just one of these 80%. So that's around 95%. Oh. Okay, good. Easy physics stuff.
What would you have done if you missed?
I would still have Asbel available. I could move Karen here, and then Asbel can finish off the bishop at 2 range. Instead,
okay.
I have Asbel available. Graph caliber uses. I think he can safely kill this guy. Maybe. What did I write for chapter 5? I think it's a bit risky. But if I can somehow get another tome on him, it could work out. here I'm setting up units in a specific way so that next turn... Oh, I think I'm still just going to be a bit short. Will it be safe? I think maybe I have to take an extra turn because I won't be able to kill that armor knight.
Oh yeah, the armor knight in the other room.
Yeah, ideally I need Asbel on this tile, but I can't with Leaf here. What would that
And you can't rescue Leaf.
Like? I can. Can I work with that? Maybe I can work with that. I'm not hopeful, but we will see what we can do here.
Gotta love Thracia's infinite trade.
Oh, I love infinite trade. That physics stuff. And Asbel can actually attack here because he wouldn't face a chance of death even over 2 rounds of combat. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go for this. Asbel has a pretty good chance of killing her. Yeah. Oh, does he not kill? Okay, he can just double crit, that's fine.
Yeah, yeah, easy.
I think he had to crit and then also get adept or a second crit. Okay! Okay.
Good unit.
Good unit. Getting magic is really good there. Asbel's interesting in that, unlike most units, every single stat that he has, aside from strength, which literally doesn't change anything, every single stat is very useful to have on Asbel in this playthrough. Movement, funnily enough, movement and strength are 2 of the units which Asbel values the least, because movement isn't actually going to do much for him, but still, getting one on that first level is going to be quite helpful for the next chapter, I believe.
Oh yeah, you have a lot more flexibility with him.
Yeah. Wait, where did the dorky go? Fuck, I put it on Asbel.
I think you put it on Brighton?
I put one on Brighton, but then I meant to put the other on Dawson. This should be fine. Oh, can I do it? Is it possible to get this? I'm unsure. I think since Leaf is rescued right now, I don't think it's going to be possible to get the turn count I'm looking for. It might be. But I'm very doubtful.
Because right now you're limited by the
It would normally be 3 more turns. The turn count here is really bad. I'm just going to say that ahead. Like right now we're 2 turns ahead of the expected schedule, and I think we're losing one of them right now for a 12 turn, which is really bad. Yeah, so I believe we're working to a 12 turn right now. That's what I need to keep in mind. I don't think there's any path I can take where I will... Oh, wait. Asbel, did you just save me a turn? You might have just saved me a turn with that movement level. Maybe. I should explain what we're trying to do here, because the escape tile is over here. There are 3 chests in this room. One of them contains a brave sword, which is very powerful, but honestly not actually very useful in this category. The other has, I believe it's an iron blade. It's something that's, like, not useful enough that I don't remember. And the last item is a life ring, which, much as we've been hoarding those early stat boosters, such as the speed ring, life ring, and defense ring, that is another stat booster which we will absolutely want to pump into Asbel.
Oh, you're giving it to Asbel?
Yeah. We will be doing quite a bit for Asbel, just to make stuff work out in the late game.
Alright. I always give it to a staff user. But I can get it.
Yeah. The category is kind of fucky, and it diverges quite a lot soon. I think I see it. I think I see an 11 turn. It might be possible.
Alright, make it
First
happen.
off, I will take the door key from Asbel, because I want to be unlocking this door in time. I'll give Leaf to Fergus and unlock the door. The unit who unlocks this door should ideally have 6 movement, because that means on the following turn they can escape. If they had 5 movement, they would be just 1 tile short. Since Dalson used the torch at the beginning of the chapter, he has slightly higher vision radius than he would normally, and I can actually have him here, and that lets me put the chests into vision radius, which is very useful. Typically, I would have to have a unit such as Leaf here, and then in order to have him escape in time, I would have to do some rescue dropping stuff. Now I can get the life ring. Okay, I'm happy with this. I can have Asbel not get a 99 miss, please.
Same devil axe armor.
Alright, good. Oh, okay. What I needed to do there was I needed to take the lockpick from Lara, and then I could have Lithis move.
Defense.
And he could... Oh, that defense is really good. Did he get Constitution? Okay, no, he didn't. That's really good. What I was meant to do there, I was a bit caught up in the moment. I was meant to take the lockpick with Asbel. Then I could have Lithis move here, he could take the lockpick from Asbel, and unlock the chest with the Brave Sword. But again, it's not actually super important for this route, so really losing it isn't any problem. We only get it normally because we can quite easily without losing any turns. Again, with some specific rescuing, where the Lithis would ferry Lara, we can actually get the Brave Sword with no cost of turns.
Oh yeah, that movement's exact.
Yeah.
I was trying to count to see if you could pick up the Iron Blade. But no.
I think I'll be fine.
It's a real loss to lose the Iron Blade.
Ah, that's so sad. Okay, well never mind, it's a 12 turn, because I forgot about Brighton movement.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I don't think there's anything I can do about that. Even with movement stars. Dalson doesn't have a move star. Yeah, there's nothing I can do about that. That's really unfortunate. It was very close. At that point, we can just get the Brave Sword though, which is good because it can make some combat in Chapter 5 more consistent.
In a while since we've seen the Brave Sword used. Almost everybody skipped it.
Yeah. It is a good item, it's just not quite as useful due to its circumstances as the Brave Sword or Brave Lance would be, where you get those immediately. Even the Brave Bow, which you get much later than any of the other Brave weapons, it at least is a lot stronger than most of the Brave weapons, so it kind of fills that niche. Wait. Where's the Sed Scroll?
Oh, did you leave that on the bishop, maybe? Uh-oh.
Maybe? Yeah, well I lost the Sed Scroll. That's not actually super important. The Sed Scroll is really nice to have. When did that happen? Maybe I did trade that to the bishop.
It's the only place I could think it would have gone.
But yeah, because it was on Asbel. That's the only place it could have been. Because it didn't go on any unit who would have been used as capture bait. It just stayed on Asbel. Well, I have one less scroll that I'm working with. I mean, that sucks, but like, it's not hugely important really. The big thing is it means the Asbel has a 100% speed growth, which just makes his levels a bit more consistent. But even then, it's good enough that he hits 20 really quickly. I forgot to use the life ring with Asbel. That's a lot of spaghetti in this chapter. Ideally, I should have used the life ring before he escaped, because then he will be at full health for the next chapter at the beginning.
Oh yeah.
which makes it more consistent. Oh well. That's some unfortunate bad luck in this chapter, but we made it out in one piece, so I will still take a 12 turn. Well, we made it out in one piece minus marker. Unfortunate as that is.
Lasted longer for you than she did for me.
I think that will lose me turns in some of the upcoming chapters. Notably, I think that might lose me a turn in chapter 7. Sorry, chapter 6. Though maybe I can adapt my strategy to still get the desired turn count, even though it will change the movement order. Sorry, the deployment order. During these early chapters, where I don't have access to battle preparations, the deployment of all my units is predetermined. And so if units die, then the order of their initial placement also changes. So marker dying could cause problems, but it should be fine.
I remember in some cases it's more favorable to lose units as well.
Yeah, there are instances. I know some in FE6, for example. FE6 is an edge case,
Oh,
though,
yeah.
where it was coded on duct tape, and it's not the one that they intended for early chapters.
Yeah, you kill Alan so that you get better deployment. Or no, it's Ellen.
Yeah. Yo, what up? We're back to some more post-commentary. Ada took a little nap during chapter 4 and 4X.
Hello.
We're back now. Hello. This session was like over 3 hours long, and if you're trying to make a video that's at all watchable, then that's kind of tricky. Chapter 5 in particular has some interesting stuff to say about it, but not enough to last its full duration. It's a really long chapter. Instead, I've just cut to just the actions, and we'll be doing commentary over that. We also have, as some background audio, one of my own arrangements, which you can see on my channel. I didn't work 6 months on this shit to not plug my shit. Anyway, right there we have Asbel fighting a bunch of mages. It's really nice to fight them here because Asbel gains a bunch of experience. We can just funnel it all into him, and this way we don't have to fight the mages later in the map when it would be less advantageous. Really, I should have used the life ring there, but I had believed that, like in some other Fire Emblem games, like health boosting items do not increase your current HP. So like he still wouldn't be able to tank more enemies, but it would actually have worked that way. It would have increased his current HP, and he could have tanked like 6 enemies. But you know, you're not in the greatest state of mind when you're playing Manster for like 3 hours.
When Asbel fights the mages, he gets a constitution level, which is really unfortunate, because it means he can't be rescued by Leaf. If we did have Leaf rescue him at the end of him fighting the mages, then Leaf would just run all the way back to the front line for a cutscene with Asbel rescued, which is much easier than having him get rescue dropped a few tiles forward like we had to here.
Yeah. Really, this chapter could be revised to not rely on this and just like account for Asbel leveling Con and just rescue dropping him forward, because he has about a 50% chance normally of leveling Con at some point. So that would be an important revision to this chapter, but honestly my strategy for this chapter, outside of some nuances, is mostly just play it quickly. You can see we're joined by Nana and Avel. Avel put in a lot of work against those pit fighters in the center, which is really good, because if we can't deal with them, then they can be really tricky for us. So we really want to be able to get rid of them specifically around when we're unlocking that door. So we got a quite nice configuration where we only had to deal with the warrior. Avel left us for story-related reasons, but Nana does stay with us, which is really nice because she has Charm and the Earth Sword, The Earth Sword being a sword with 1-2 range and a Nosferatu effect, giving her effectively infinite might if you can set up the scenario right.
When Lara unlocks the door here into the pit fighter room, the Armor Knight would usually be able to one-hit Nana, but he prioritizes capturing Lara, which means Nana can survive just by Nos tanking the rest of the units in that cross formation.
Yeah, you can see that in this chapter, Fergus also gains B-rank swords. That lets him use the Brave Sword, which normally you would think would be very good, since like the Brave Axe and Brave Lance were really strong in the first few chapters. But really we only ever use the Brave Sword once in this playthrough, if we can use it at all, and that's against that group of archers, because having any extra tool to deal with that strong general boss is much appreciated. We don't really have many options to fight him, so having Fergus with the Brave Sword is real nice.
The priest all the way at the bottom left of the map has a physics staff, which is nice to have, but it would usually take a couple of extra turns to take it and then escape the unit that captured him. So we have Dalsin capture and take the physics staff, because we can abandon Dalsin here, and in the next 2 maps he would kind of slow us down anyway, cost us some turns.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate to leave Dalsin after all the work that he put in for us in these few chapters. But really, it's just kind of how it goes. He would be losing us a lot of turns if we were to keep him with us. We were turn floored anyway. We did lose a turn to Brighton and his movement. He has high constitution and low movement, making it hard to like get him up to the front lines of the rest of your group. What we could have done is we could have given him the Sed Scroll, and then when we were making our advance against the Meteor Bishop, where we kept him out of range because he would have faced crit, we could have given him the Sed Scroll and let him start moving early. That way he could have escaped with the rest of our group and we could have saved a turn. Anyway, thank you for watching this kind of scuffed episode. I tried to do my best to make this interesting given what it is. I hope it was nice and watchable. Thanks, Ada, for joining again for some post-commentary on short notice.
No problem.
Alright, and I hope you guys join us next time for some more interesting chapters with another special guest. Alright, see ya.
Bye.
We can just kind of...
I am ready.
Awesome. Dude, that's so awesome. That's insane. Like, you're ready now? That's... Oh... 3, 2...